So I have the M95 taken apart. Go ahead and take a closer look at it. See, it's just very dirty right here under the wood line, but you can definitely see a difference in the finish between what was exposed and what wasn't. You can see here this part of the barrel was completely under the wood. Seems like the finish looks pretty good there. As soon as you leave the wood though, it just goes right into the white. Same with these barrel bands, they're just in the white. Got all the screws here so I don't lose any of them. The top handguard looks pretty good. I don't see any cracks on or anything. It does look like it's a little worn down here at the tip, but otherwise looks good. You get the buttstock, looks good. I just gotta clean it up. I think the linseed oil is going to look really good on this wood. This stamp, the AOI, is for Italian East Africa. It's like the Italian capture stamp for these rifles. He's just very dirty in the stock. It's full of dirt and grease. Doesn't look like there's any damage here. Sometimes you see a lot of wood rot here, especially where it's coming into contact with the metal. See a ding there in the stock, but otherwise the stock looks pretty good. This is the trigger guard. See, it's pretty much in the white. A little bit of pitting there on the surface. There on the side of that magazine. So typically with these types of kind of Mannlicher style trigger guards is I just do these last. I'm going to take it apart like one piece at a time. So I'll work on this, clean it out, and then put it back together, or work on this part, clean it out, put it back together. That way you kind of don't have a whole bunch of parts laying around. Bolt looks pretty good. I'll just take it apart. Looks like had a lot of grease on it. I don't really see any pitting on it. I know it functioned pretty well, just removing it, so the bolt should turn out pretty nicely. And like with the trigger guard, I'll definitely take this apart all on its own. These types of bolts are a bit of a new experience for me, so I have to take my time with it. So I'll go ahead and get started on all of this, and I'll take a video of all the parts once I have it cleaned up. So I've got it all cleaned up. Go take a closer look at all the parts. Got the bolt broken down, cleaned up. So disassemble the trigger guard assembly as well and clean that up. I got all the parts here. Barrel looks good. I don't see any pitting. You definitely see a lot of worn finish in the exposed metal. See the serial numbers match. There's the top handguard and the stock. I really like the grain pattern in the stock. Looks pretty cool. Just some boiled linseed oil will do this. Clean it up really nicely. Take a closer look at some of these parts. See this cleaned up really nicely. See, both sides of the barrel look nice. It's got a pretty good kind of plum finish on it. The inlay for the stock looks good too. And the bolt body looks pretty good too. Sometimes these are really pitted, but this looks pretty good. So go ahead and put it back together and show you how it looks. So I got the M95 all reassembled, so go ahead and take a closer look at it. Starting with the buttstock, looks pretty good. Really like the grain patterns in it. You can see the stamp here for Italian East Africa. I'd say the stock is excellent on this one, especially given its storage conditions. You can see the metals in the white, but aside from some minor surface pitting, it's in pretty good shape. The rear sight leaf is just loose on here, so that would be a problem for shooting it. You can see here otherwise in pretty good shape. The buttstock here looks pretty good. Has a different grain pattern, but looks good. My inspector seems to approve. So overall, I'd say it's pretty good. And the bolt functions pretty well as you would expect. Go ahead and take a look at the bore. It's overall a pretty good rifle. So if you like these types of videos, want to see more, feel free to subscribe. If you'd like me to point out other things about the rifles, feel free to drop them in a comment. Appreciate you watching.